kitchen, and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making for you today is plum pies and cream cheese mini pies. This recipe was inspired by my mom finding a patch of plum pies in the woods in my back garden. So what we're going to do, because I don't have any right now, I'm going to ask you to join me to go pick them, and then we can get started on our mini pies. Thank you for joining me here in the woods on the back of our place. What I'm going to do here now is pick some plum pies. It's better known as blackberries in some places. Here in Newfoundland we call them plum pies, and they're little blackberries, and some of them is a little red. This is what they look like. I mean, they're absolutely delicious and they're very good for you. I'm picking a few of them. Hopefully I'll get more. Okay, we got our plum pies picked. They're beautiful, and I think I got enough. Plum pies is also better known as blackberries. We're going to take them back to my place now, and let's turn these beautiful berries into miniature pies. Now that was fun. I got my berries already cleaned because, like you said, it'll be too long of a clip if I put everything in there. So I'm going to put it here into this glass bowl. These plum pies, they're almost in the same family as the raspberries, the red raspberries and the black raspberries, and so we're just going to go on from this now and start with making our pie crust. Okay, so like I said, we'll get started on our mini pies. So we got 1 cup of white flour. I'm sure you can use wheat flour if you prefer. And you're going to have cold butter, and the reason for that is it helps blend everything together and make it nice and flaky. So we're going to be using 1/4 cup of cold butter. Okay, so that's that. So what we're going to do first is blend the flour and the butter together. Now I'm using salted butter. If you're using non-salted butter, you would need to add probably about 1/2 teaspoonful of salt. But right now I'm going to not put any salt in because I'm using salted butter. So continue blending this together like this until all the butter is incorporated in the flour. Okay, so that's mixed together nice. So we're going to be using 3 tablespoonfuls of cold water. Again, I'm saying cold because having it cold is best for making a pastry. Okay, you can mix all this together until you form a ball. We'll talk a bit about the berries again. The plum pies, my mom calls them English plum pies, but I guess plum pies is fine. And again, they're in the same family as blackberries, black raspberries, red raspberries. They look similar. So what we're going to do is just create a little pie. Instead of making a big dish, we'll just do a little one. Okay, so your ball is something like this. I'm going to move this to the side. And I'm going to reach for my parchment paper and my roller. And if you've got time and you're not in no rush to make these pastries, put it in the fridge for maybe 10-15 minutes until it cools, because when you're working it, you're making it hot. So if you've got time for that. But right now, I'm just going to show you what to do and the steps. So this is a 3-step pie dish. So pretty much that's how many steps it's going to take to make it. So now we'll get started on the rolling. So much more rewarding when you're making your own pastry. I know you can go buy it, and that's optional for you. But I think if you make it yourself, you won't go back. You'll just continue doing that. So just roll this out until it's not too thin, but just pie crust thin. So continue rolling it until it's nice and thin. So, and a little bit about this. This is just for 2 mini pies. If you want 4, just double this recipe. Instead of 1 cup of flour, you'll have 2, and so on and so forth. So just look at that when you're doing it. And I'll show you now how I'm going to cut to make to put it into the little pie pans. So we're going to be using little foil pie pans. If you got your own pie pans at home, you can use that. So instead of making it the same size of this pan, go a little bit out around it, because it's got to fit down into your pie pan. So you just cut out around until you make a circle. So I got my pie pans pre-greased as well, and I got 2. So this is about the size of a pastry you need. So just put it into your pie pan as such, and it looks something like that. And I'm going to make this second one here now, and then I'll show you what next step is. And this is pie number 2. So like I said, it's 3 steps. This is the first step, the pastry. And now I'm going to cut out, we're still in the first step. I'm going to cut out now the strips for the top of our pie pans. And then I'll show you how to make little designs that you can put on it as well. But let's do the strips. So what I mean by little strips, this is to put over the top of our pie pan after we got everything else added into it. So you're just going to sew forward, go on down, make little strips like that, and this is pretty much what it's going to look like when it gets over your pie pan. But I'm just going to continue cutting these, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, it's not necessary that you would have strips over the top. You can have just a little design. And what I'm saying about a little design, if you want to shape out a heart shape or a triangle or just something that is decorative and that you can just put on the top of the berries once it's all in there. So I'm going to cut out a couple of these and then meet me back here and we'll start with the filling, and that would be step 2 of our pies. Now we'll get started on our filling, which is half a pack of cream cheese at room temperature. We got a tablespoonful of evaporated milk or cream and a 1/4 cup of icing sugar, but the powder icing sugar. So now I'm going to blend this together until it's nice and creamy. Okay, this is nice and creamy, so we're ready to go with that. Put this to the side here now. Put my blender out of the way. And what I'm going to do now is bring our berries in, what we've been waiting for, our plumboys, and I'm going to show you the 3rd step, what we would do with those. So after you clean your plumboys, just make sure that you got all of the little, I guess, stalks and everything off it. It looks pretty good. I got a couple left on there because we're not long ago picked them. So we're going to put a tablespoonful of lemon, and we're going to be using a tablespoonful of sugar. And we only needed to use a cup of the plumboys because we want to keep some for after to put on our plate. So stir it together and then you're done. So now let's start assembling our little pies and see what they look like. Okay, so now we're going to start with our filling. So we're going to be putting our cream cheese in first. So we got our pastry pie that we already put there a little while ago, and our cream cheese. And this is our step 2 of this portion. So we're going to spread this out in the bottom and have it nice and even. I'll smooth this a little bit more. And then now it's our berries. So you're going to put a nice helping of your plumboys on top of your cream cheese. This looks absolutely delicious, and those plumboys, they're tart, but yet the sugar now will make them a little sweet. So you just kind of want to share it up. So that was a cup of plumboys, and it's just for 2 tarts. And again, like you said, if you want to make more than 2, you can just double your recipe. Okay, now it comes for the top. I just can't resist. I got to take one. They're so nice, and they got that sweet taste to it now that I got the sugar put onto it. So now you're just going to put the top portion on your mini pies, and any hangover, just take it off like this and do the same for the next one, and it'll look something like that. So I'm going to do the second one and I'll tell you what's next. This is pie number 2. Like I said, you might be able to squeeze another pie out of it if you didn't want to decorate the top like this. But I'm going to let you decide the way you want to decorate your pie. Now let me get a pan. The reason why I'm saying let me get a pan, because I want to put these pies on it. I don't want to put it in the oven like this. And at the same time, those little decorative squares and triangles that we made, I'm going to put them on the pan. I'm going to let them also bake, because we're going to use them after for a little design, and I'll show you what that is. We're going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees for 25 minutes or until golden brown. Sometimes you're a little iffy if it's ready or not, but if your pastry looks a little flaky, it may not be exactly golden brown, but if you think it's ready, just take it out. You'll see the berries starting to bubble. So my oven is ready there now. I'm going to put this in there, and meet me back here and I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, my 25 minutes is up on my clock, so I'm going to check it. I'm thinking that I may put it in for probably about another 10 minutes until, like you said, they're in foil pans. So foil pans tend to not block in the heat as much. So 10 more minutes for mine, but it could be different for yours. But definitely check it part ways through. And I'm going to take out these little designs that we made, because 15 minutes is enough for those. Okay, meet me back here in 10. Okay, my timer's gone off again for that extra 10 minutes that I put it in for. So I'm going to take it out now. It looks like they're done. And like you said, depending on your oven, it could be longer, could be less. I'm just going to put this to my counter now, and I'll show you what's next. Okay, there was work to wait for sure. They're a little hot. I like to be able to take them out of my foil trays to show you, but because it's so hot, I don't want to ruin wasting it. So what you would do now, top it with a little bit of whipped cream. I'm going to also have a side of ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and a few more of these beautiful Plumboys, because this you can't get enough, and then top it with a simple syrup. I'm going to bring you in closer so you can see it. And then I'm going to just drizzle it with a little bit of that powdered icing sugar. Now this is what you would call a very decorative dessert. You just want to have more than one little one, but this is what it's going to look like. And those little shapes that we made, and I said take them out about 15 minutes prior to, put one on top there, and then take another one and put on the other one. Now this was, I made it enough for like 2 people. So this is what your dessert will look like. It kind of brings me back to my childhood when Mom used to make big berry pies. I like making personal size, those mini pies, because it is better to serve to your guests or for your own family. So just remember, when you're baking these mini pies, when you're using foil, be careful. You may need to be in there a little bit longer, but depending on your oven, I'll leave that to you. The simple syrup, all this is I made it with blueberries that I kind of let it be more runny, and then put it into my container so it'll just jazz up the plate. So this ends our episode of Plumboys and cream cheese mini pies. I hope this was helpful for you. Please try this recipe. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and once again, thank you for visiting Bonita's Kitchen, and you have a wonderful day.